Hi, everyone. Today I want to introduce a new feature, human-like input settings. You can find it under Tools in Human-like Input Settings. Its main purpose is to add small random variations to touch coordinates, so every tap does not land on exactly the same point. Some games or apps may detect highly repetitive automated input. When a person presses a control repeatedly, the touch point normally varies slightly each time. An app may use perfectly identical touch coordinates as a signal that an external device or command is generating the input. Let me demonstrate how it works. First, open the keyboard mapping settings and enable Show Feedback. Now I will right-click. Watch the feedback marker at the scope position. Every right-click lands on the same point. Firing also uses the exact same position each time. An app that monitors automated input may detect this repeated pattern. Enable coordinate jitter under KeyMap human-like input, then adjust its range here. I will set it to 2% and test firing again. You can see that each tap now lands at a slightly different position. The same is true for right-click. This makes the touch behavior closer to how a person interacts with the game. KeyMap human-like input provides two options. The first is coordinate jitter, which varies the touch position. The second is delay jitter, which adds a small variation to the input timing. You may not need much delay while playing a game, but some other apps may also analyze the timing between inputs. A 1% setting should still feel normal during gameplay. The difference is subtle to the player, but it creates small variations in the input data. Macros also support coordinate jitter. I will switch to another app to demonstrate it. I have opened a drawing app for the macro demonstration. I will record a macro that draws a line by dragging downward, stop the recording, and save it to the Paint macro profile. Clear the canvas, select red, and run the macro once. The macro reproduces the line we just recorded. Now change the color and run it again. The first and second lines follow exactly the same path. Some apps may also monitor identical repeated paths. In that case, enable coordinate jitter under macro human-like input. Set it to 1%, switch to purple, and run the macro again. The new line has a small amount of jitter. Run it once more, and you can see another slight offset. Increase it to 2%. Switch to blue, and run it again. The difference becomes a little larger. Each execution now produces a slightly different path. For example, this run shifts slightly to the right. Raise the setting to 5%, and the variation becomes larger. At 15%, the difference is much greater. Enable and adjust this setting when your workflow needs it. Human-like input also applies to group control across multiple devices. You can give each phone a slightly different touch position. You can also add small timing differences so the devices do not all touch at exactly the same moment. For example, if 10 phones touch simultaneously, that pattern may be captured in the data. You can configure those differences here. That is the purpose of human-like input settings. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.